What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Retro Movie Podcast, the podcast where everything is connected. I'm your host, Jacob Thompson, and joining me is my co-host, friend, and the person most likely to have a pulley system for his dog that he can let it down from his apartment so he could pee on the street. Alex Perkins, Criterion tonight.
I'm well, thanks. It's genius. Really.
It's really incredible.
Yeah. Some a feat of science.
Why walk down the stairs with your dog where you can just throw it out the window essentially and then call it back up?
Cutest little basket too.
It's great. Welcome back to the show, everyone. This is the podcast where every week Perk and I review a movie connected to the last one we watched. If you like our show, we post pretty much every Friday on podcast services and YouTube. You can give us a follow on TikTok as well. But come watch the movies with us. Right now we're on our classic string. Last week we watched On the Waterfront featuring Marlon Brando. And we're following Leonard Bernstein, who we'll probably talk about later in this episode. He was on the soundtrack for both On the Waterfront as well as this movie Rear Window, an Alfred Hitchcock classic. Perk, why don't you intro it for us?
Yeah, all right. So Rear Window is a 1954 joint directed by the aforementioned Alfred Hitchcock, starring James Stewart and Grace Kelly. It revolves around a man with a broken leg who is stuck in his wheelchair in his apartment during the recovery process, in an apartment that overlooks a courtyard in his little complex, and he kind of can see in on the lives of his neighbors, and then murder. Yeah.
Or was there murder?
Yes. There was. Sorry,
There was,
spoiler
yeah.
alert. But you're supposed to watch the movie before you listen to the episode. Couple fun facts. There's a scene where it starts raining outside, and there's one couple who has a mattress that they keep on their balcony, which is just such a privilege of people who don't live somewhere where there are mosquitoes, I guess.
Yeah. Also, do they have an apartment, or are they just living on that balcony? What's the situation there?
I mean, I'm sure they have it. They got to go back in somewhere. But Hitchcock actually pulled a prank during that scene because another fun fact is Hitchcock only operated out of James Stewart's apartment. He was never, obviously, all the shots are from that apartment.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he was communicating with the actors via flesh-colored earpieces.
Oh, interesting.
And for that scene, he told the wife to go one way and the husband to go through the other window.
Just to add to kind of the chaos of it.
Yeah, to make it a legitimate struggle.
Yeah.
Pretty
That's
clever.
good, yeah.
Yeah. The movie takes place on a set, which is one of the most impressive sets I've ever seen for a movie.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It was 98 feet wide, 185 feet long, and 40 feet high. It consisted of 31 apartments, 8 of which were fully furnished and livable, running water and everything like that.
Yeah.
The courtyard was 20 to 30 feet below the stage level, and some of the buildings were 5 or 6 stories tall. Which is just it's crazy how intense this set was.
Yeah, and it pays off big time.
Yes. And then at one point the film negative was damaged and all of the yellow dye faded. So they had to for the current features they had to spend lots of time and money restoring all of the yellow to the film.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's something I was wondering, because in the opening credits it says colored by Technicolor. I'm like, so did they shoot it in black and white and then manually color it later? What's that process? I
think that is kind of how Technicolor works.
That's
right?
insane. That would take so fucking long. And you have to have some sort of reference. Yeah, that's insane. I'm sure there's some great video essays about that. Maybe I'll look it up. But Perk, let me ask you something. Is it just me, or is it crazy that my 2 roommates had not heard of this movie?
I think it's a little crazy.
This is Hitchcock's most famous movie, I'm pretty sure. I mean, he's got Psycho and Vertigo and stuff, but I don't know. I feel like I've been hearing about this movie since I was super young, and I watched it when I was really young.
And I mean, you just seeing how it's permeated through through culture. Like,
Yeah.
there's a Family Guy episode that rips off Rear Window.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff
it's
based
everywhere.
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, Perk, what'd you think of it? First time watching Rear Window.
I liked it a lot. I don't think it's perfect, but it's a really good thriller that uses tension really well, including just like ambient tension.
Mm-hmm.
And it peaks really well. The build of the tension to the climax is fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I liked it a lot too. I think it's really, really great premise. Like, and I think it's set up so well. Yeah, I love the premise. Love the like how he kind of recruits different characters to help him out throughout it, and then so the build of tension at the end is great. Super contained, and like the set elevates it so much of like it feels like a real place, and it's just I love how he has little nicknames for everybody, and yeah, you can tell why it was so like influential on so many like stories after the fact.
Definitely.
Yeah, but I want to start the discussion, Perk, by just saying, what's his name, JB Jeffries or whatever, or
LB
Jeffries
or Jeff,
bro. She's too good for you. Stop being a dick. I swear to God, bro. Grace Kelly, I would do anything for this woman.
Lisa rocks.
She is stunning. And she's super great, and she's being super nice.
She's
and
fantastic.
Like, and he's being a fucking dick, dude, with these offhand comments.
Yeah.
Bro, chill. I could not handle how disrespectful this man was being to Lisa.
No, I really like to. Well, yeah. First of all, just to touch on Grace Kelly is fantastic.
Yeah.
She plays a character who isn't just your like ditzy blonde lady in distress.
Yeah.
Like she she's independent enough and goes out there and like does a lot of the digging for him, literally in some cases. But yeah, and she doesn't really take much guff from him too, which is nice to see.
Yeah.
But I thought she was great, and I liked how their relationship kind of developed by the plot, as well as like as she gets more and more involved in like getting her hands dirty on this. Unfortunately, it kind of is her coming to his level on like the disagreement, but it's an arc nonetheless.
Yeah, and I like the disagreement. Like it's felt very realistic between couples. Is like they love each other, but they got different lives, and what's gonna give, and I think that is interesting to explore. Just like, bro, stop being a fucking asshole about it, man. And like, I love Stella, dude. Stella is such a real one in this movie. Yes. I love her so much, and like, there's a lot of foreshadowing in their first conversation of what's gonna happen and stuff, but she's just the best. I need a Stella in my life just to give it to me straight, Yep.
It'll also be interesting to see moving forward in this classic movie string. But the fact that, On the Waterfront was pretty tame from like there's always, in old movies, there's always stuff where it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
How is that okay to be on TV?
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure this movie passes the Bechdel test. Because we've got two female characters with names who talk about something other than a man.
Well,
because they talk about digging up the woman's body part.
That's true. Yeah, I was gonna say if they talk about the murderer, does that count? But yeah, you're right. They have to do some strategy on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and like it's a PG movie. Like there's nothing like super like crazy or bad in it. No, it's a lot of it's implied. And yeah, it holds up for sure, except for some of the stuff at the end.
So that was
the effects and stuff.
Not a massive drawback, I suppose, but it really takes you out of it.
Yeah.
That at the end of the film, there's the scene where he drops is clearly before the technology was there.
Yeah.
I can't even understand what happened.
Yeah. I don't know. How did they? What did they do? And then were they? Because also the shots of all the neighbors coming out are like fast forwarded.
Yeah, so I don't understand that either. What would have been lost if those were just played at normal speed?
Yeah,
because every shot of like someone running over or running out of their house in that last part, they were all like double speed, and I don't understand why they needed to do
I think they're probably worried about the pace slowing down too much. The tension is built. It's a climax, and they want to keep the speed and see everyone's coming out. But yeah, it just didn't. I mean, we can't blame them. It was the technology at the time, but it just didn't look great.
No, and I think maybe what was literally happening was they were just like, they filmed Jimmy Stewart in like this type of position, and then
like comped it in.
Just for each frame, they just like cut him out and like
Yeah.
pasted him on top of the shot.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that just could have been a reality of the time. But
yeah, that's what they had to do. Yeah.
It does look terrible in retrospect. But other than literally like the last 2 minutes of the movie, it holds up really well.
Yeah.
Like, the dialogue's good. The story is interesting. The way that the like mystery unfolds is pretty great. And yeah.
Just one more thing about that final climax scene.
Okay. Yeah.
Were you also like, Thorwald, close your damn eyes? He's flashed you 3 times. He's gonna flash you again.
I know.
Cover your face, my guy. You're seeing him reload the bulb. What are you doing?
Yeah, we've not painted Thorwald as the brightest gentleman.
Well, I mean, he was smart enough, I guess, to cut up his wife's body and spread it throughout town. But
yeah, and also send a fake postcard, and there's a lot of thought went into that murder.
Yeah, not enough thought when he's trying
to
strangle a man.
Closing your eyes.
But yeah, I mentioned before, I love how this movie is set up, or just like how his character is set up. Like the opening shot, no dialogue. We just scan. We see him in the wheelchair. He's got the cast on his leg. Then we see the broken camera. Then we see him in his famous pictures. You already know who this guy is. You know, we get the phone call then, which like explains it more explicitly. We didn't even need that though. I'm like, I just from the cast, the broken camera in the picture, I can tell what the kind of person this guy is. He's an action photographer. He goes out and gets the stuff, and probably doesn't like being cooped up, and that's why he gets like obsessed with this theory he has, and then turns out to be true. But and yeah, just keeping everything in the apartment. It never feels like boring or slow somehow. Even though we're in just this kind of one setting. I mean, we're seeing all the different neighbors at times, but yeah, it moves very efficient, and I like that a lot about it.
Yeah, I agree. I would really like to see like a shot for shot modern retelling of this movie, where the plot twist is that it's actually just like the main character scrolling TikTok for an hour and 45 minutes.
Well, okay, while you're talking, let me look up stuff, because there was a Kristen Bell like parody Rear Window movie.
Probably. I was just more being facetious about the fact that he has like like he could have read a book, but this man has nothing to entertain himself other than looking out the window, which is just funny. Whereas nowadays you just stare at your phone all night.
The shots of him with the like telephoto lens on his camera looks so freaking cool, man. Like it's such a great look. And we just the reflections on it and stuff. Okay, let me find this really fast because it has a really funny title. And I'm not finding it. It's like she's like a person that like just drinks wine. I think it's a miniseries. And like looks out of her window, and it's like a spoof. Here we go. I got it. Yeah, it's a miniseries. The woman in the house across the street from the girl in the window. When a handsome neighbor moves in across the street, Anna, a heartbroken woman from whom every day is the same, starts to see a light at the end of the tunnel. That is, until she witnesses a gruesome murder. Or did she? So yeah, it's like a Rear Window kind of spoof. Okay. With like Kristen Bell looking out the window, like drinking a bunch of wine. Could be fun. Somebody watch it and let us know how it is.
Yeah, definitely report back.
Yeah. But like you said, there's like a Family episode. There's a ton of stuff based on this.
You mentioned earlier the Leonard Bernstein was cited. That was another thing I saw when just kind of digging around. All the sound in this movie is diegetic.
Yep.
Other than like at the very like first couple shots, there's like some score. After that, it's like all the sound is in world.
Yeah.
So like you hear cars honking and stuff, and the only music comes from the musician who lives upstairs in the building across the yard. I thought that was a cool touch, and I also like how it kind of ties together at the end, because you got the woman who wants to take too many pills,
Miss Lonely Heart.
Yeah, then she hears some music and hears a song she really loves, and this musician's been struggling to come up with the way to make this perfect song, and in the end he finds a song that gets through to this woman and saves her life. And I thought, like, those tie-ins are super cool, and like relevant because I know a lot of people have experiences where like music kind of takes them back from a dark place.
Yeah.
So that was a fairly resonant moment as well.
Yeah, that and another one for me with that character was after they see her kind of get assaulted by that guy. There's two great lines. One of Jeffrey's being like, maybe we should not be looking at this stuff. Like, this is private lives and we should not be, involved. And then later Lisa says, like, why are we sad that the truth is a woman didn't get murdered when they think it.
Yeah, that was a great line.
And I'm glad they put that in the movie because like that's what we're feeling. And I'm glad they like acknowledge that. It's like, yeah, this is a good thing. This guy is not a murderer, Yes. That whole moment I think was really powerful. And then, yeah, we get some cool action later with, Lisa going across the street. And it's cool we get this, 2D version of it of her going through the window and looking around and stuff. And what's going on? What are they saying? And that's all really fun to watch.
Yeah, I really like the way that kind of the opposite building almost turns into like a shadow box.
Yeah.
Or like a tableau. It's just, it's a really cool mechanic. And yeah, all these shots from across the street where it literally just looks like an ant farm, just 2D. Mm-hmm. I think it's super, super fun. Really cool way to shoot it.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's Rear Window. I mean, there's not a lot to it. It's pretty lean. It's good.
Just one other thing I wanted to touch on with the tension. I think there are a lot of like sneaky ways that the tension is kind of ratcheted up that I appreciated. Like, first of all, he's stuck in his apartment. That brings in like a claustrophobia, like an unease. Mm-hmm. 2, he's literally stuck in like a cast, and it's itching, and that adds to that claustrophobic effect. And then also just the aspect of like windows are 2 ways.
Yeah.
So the entire time he's looking, even if you're not thinking about it, subconsciously you're thinking, "Oh God, I hope nobody sees him peeping at him."
Yeah.
And eventually, when he does get seen, it's like, "Oh wow, shit. There it is."
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and then
it's the moment you've been waiting for. Literally, just by the existence of this window, it's established this Chekhov's gun that at some point someone's going to look back through it.
Yeah, and then when you hear Thorwald come into his apartment, it's like, yeah, he can't do anything. He's got a wheelchair. He can't walk. Yep. He hasn't got a gun. Like, he's fucked. Yeah, no, I think you're totally right. The tension building, I think it takes a while, but once it starts ramping up, it's very effective. Yeah,
that was one of my only other gripes is I think that the movie takes a little bit too long to get moving.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. I also really like the final shot of him, and now he has 2 casts. For both legs.
Yeah, that was just so super cheeky.
And then like goes to Lisa and she sees he fell asleep. So she drops the Himalayas book and picks up the fashion magazine. It's great, like what a nice fun
really great ending. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, man. Yeah, it's a great movie. Glad we watched it. I'm excited for next week. We're watching another Hitchcock movie. Won't say yet, and see if that's more tense because that's his trademark, right? I will say I'm never watching The Birds again. That one, too scary. No, thank you.
Understood.
But do you have any recommendations based on this? We just watched another contained thriller, being 12 Angry Men. So I feel like it'd be a lot of similar stuff than that. But do you have any call-outs?
Yeah, I do. I watched it last year, 2 years. I think maybe 16 months ago. It's called Kimmy. And I think, is it Steven Soderbergh? Pulled it up so I could remember this.
I remember it coming out.
Yeah, Steven Soderbergh. It's about a woman with agoraphobia who works as a voice log analyst for Amazon or something. Because Kimmy is a Amazon Alexa that predicts what you want. It'll hear you talking about how you're out of toilet paper and it'll recommend you toilet paper. And so she analyzes these voice clips to train the AI or whatever, and she overhears what she thinks might be a murder. And yeah, it's just this is kind of that. I know I was being facetious earlier, but this is a modern retelling of the story in a different way.
Yeah.
Which was pretty good. It didn't. I couldn't remember what it was called. I know it had Zoe Kravitz in it, but it was good enough. I watched it with my family actually, and Yeah, if you're allergic to old movies but you want to watch a Rear Window type movie, yeah, watch Kimmy.
There you go. Actually, yeah, that's a good shot. You just remind me of, remember, what are the first, was it Searching was the first movie that came out that was all on a computer screen with John Cho, I believe.
John Cho is in it, yeah.
Yeah. So
I think it is called Searching.
Yeah, I mean, that's, yeah. So that's a kind of another version of it where it's one thing, you're just looking at a computer screen, so it's kind of a contained thriller in that way. And then there was like a spiritual sequel that came out, I think like last year, that I'm blanking on, unfortunately. But that might be another good shout. Missing was the next one. That one's like more in the real world, though.
Gotcha.
But yeah, there we go. That is a review of Rear Window. Stay tuned to the end of the episode when we say we're watching next week. But for now, it's bonus review time. Perk, I got 3. You got 1. So I'll start us off here with, this is a short one. I was looking at my AMC app, as you do, because sometimes they throw in some extra special events. What do I see? Godzilla -1 color, with the dopest poster I've seen in my entire fucking life. Which is, this is Godzilla -1 in black and white. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to that, baby. And it was great. Like, I think I definitely would not recommend seeing it as your first time watching the movie. But it was really cool. Like, Godzilla himself, was way more terrifying in black and white. Like, the opening scene, I won't explain it for those who haven't seen it, but Perk, you know, he is just like way more terrifying in black and white. So that was really cool. I mean, the dialogue scenes are pretty much the same. I will say I really missed the blue that he has when he's charging the heat ray. That's such an important part of Godzilla -1, and not having that, it's like you didn't notice what was happening right away sometimes because you just don't have that color cue.
Yeah.
And this movie wasn't made to be in black and white. So like,
right.
It kind of makes sense. So I think it's a fun gimmick and a fun way to watch it. If you've already seen it, I would not recommend it at first viewing, but great time. I love that movie. I cried a bunch. It was my favorite movie last year. So yeah, if you're a fan of the movie, go see Godzilla -1 color. Great time and a fucking great title. I mean, come on. That's awesome. So
I wonder, yeah. I think it would have been, maybe this is too dumb, but if they had done like one of those gimmicks like in what's the Liam Neeson Holocaust?
Oh, Schindler's List?
Schindler's List, where there's no color except for the girl in the red dress.
Yeah, no, dude, if they just kept the blue, dude, that would have been fucking awesome. I was thinking about it too. I'm like, that would have been so sick. Yeah, but anyway, I did notice though, Perk, and maybe what was after, my parents caught something at the end of the movie that I did not catch. That's kind of another Easter egg or set for the sequel, and I caught it this time. I was like, oh, what the fuck is that? So I'll talk about it after, but there's some things up for a possible sequel. So
all right,
we'll see.
Well, we knew that they were setting up for a sequel with what I thought was kind of a lame ending.
Well, see, yeah, there's that something before that also. Okay. And now that there's the 2 things, now more important. Just the one thing at the end, I'm like, that's lame. But the 2 things, I'm like, okay, you can get me. But
fair enough.
Perk, what'd you watch?
I watched Maestro, which is the Bradley Cooper directed and starred, Steven Spielberg produced biopic about Leonard Bernstein, which stars and focuses a lot of its runtime around Carey Mulligan as his wife, Felicia. It is fine. It is just okay. Yeah. I didn't want to watch it, which that'll always kind of tank your, like, coming in the wrong mindset.
Yeah.
It's not going to help. But I've done that before where I've come in on the wrong mindset and been like, oh, wow, this was actually fire. It's, the guy clearly has an interesting life and an interesting story. It centers around a lot around his relationship dynamic because he's married to Felicia and has kids. But from the start, she knew that he was like having affairs with men. Like it was like an agreement that they had.
Gotcha.
But it's clearly still has strains on their relationship. The script is kind of all over the place, and it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't really follow too much of anything, just like passage of time. There's a black and white section, after which it's in color, which the only thing I can think of is maybe that it's because at that time period there wasn't color. Because they meet. I don't remember actually when they meet, but maybe when they met was before color, like film was a thing. But other than that, the choice felt kind of arbitrary. I don't know. Bradley Cooper's a good director. I think it's well directed at a minimum. It's well acted. I think Bradley Cooper's good. I don't know. Like off the top of my head, I can't think of who I would have nominated over him. But this feels like a more that he was just supposed to be nominated.
Yeah.
Carey Mulligan is tremendous. I think she's just an outstanding actor.
Yeah.
In general. But yeah, she kills it in what is a larger role than you would think for a movie about Leonard Bernstein.
Mm-hmm.
And she does kind of have a lot to do, and she does a good job. But overall, I mean, the score is good, but do you know why the score is good? Because it's just all Leonard Bernstein's music.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It got nominated for freaking everything, which is stupid.
Yeah.
It's a fine movie. It's carried by performances and good direction, but don't watch it. So, yeah.
So basically what we're saying is if Carey wins, that's fine, but anything else?
Actually, no. If Carey Mulligan wins, it's not okay. Because it's probably I'll do this later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
There are others that I would pick over her. For sure.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, that's in line with what I've been seeing with reviews, and it's like you said, very Oscar baity. Do you think there's a version of a Leonard Bernstein biopic that's good and compelling, and this wasn't it, or you think it's just? I know you're also not a biggest fan of biopics, but
there might be. We don't get too much of like his inner journey, I suppose is the wrong way to say it. It's more just the whole movie is kind of through the lens of his relationship with his wife. The music is almost like a sideshow, which can be okay because obviously it's only part of his life. But I don't know. It's hard to say if there is a good way to. Obviously, this dude's an interesting guy, and his story is probably worth telling. But I don't know. I'm just so cynical on biopics as a genre in general.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe instead it could have been just here's all his best, most featured music in movies throughout the years, and just have it be a montage, and that'd be a cool YouTube video.
Yeah, knows? Maybe.
But all right, well that's Maestro.
That's Maestro.
There we go.
Everybody go rush out to your Netflix app.
Give it a watch.
Fire that one up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, Perk. Well, I'll leave you with something good, something bad.
Right.
I'll start with the bad. So, Mad Max Fury Road just got onto HBO Max, and I really wanted to watch it. My roommate's like, we should watch the original ones first. I'm like, fine. I want to watch Fury Road, but whatever. So we watched the original Mad Max. What is this movie? Have you seen the original Mad Max?
I haven't.
Okay, so I'd never seen it before. And I'm like, okay, the Mad Max movies are cult classics, yada, yada, yada. I don't think the first one is after watching it because this is pre-apocalypse. I thought and the movie starts and like they're in Australia and like things are like mostly fine. I'm like, is the apocalypse going to happen in this movie? Nope. It's this movie is so fucking slow for a movie that is about mostly just like highway chases. It is so slow and nothing fucking happens. And this movie could have been like 20 minutes long and got the same amount of plot done and been like, this movie should have been a flashback in Mad Max 2 to set up his character. Because he doesn't become Mad Max until the very end because a bad thing happens. It should have been a flashback in Mad Max 2. Like, there's nothing cool. Like, I read some trivia that like all the car stunts had to be done in one take because they didn't have the budget to it more than once, which is a cool fact. They're fine. Like, they're cool. It's hard in 2024 to like, compared to what we have now to compare what we have then, but like, I don't know, man. Like, I just didn't have a good time in this movie. I was like checking my watch. I'm like, God, what? This is so long and so slow and nothing is fucking happening. And Mel Gibson's fine, but like, yeah, this movie, like I said, should have been a flashback in the next movie because we just need to develop one part of his character and that's that. Now he's Mad Max, you know? So Would not recommend. I would skip to Mad Max 2 because I'm pretty sure things have already gone to shit at that point. So.
Oh, you just watched the first one?
Yeah, we just watched the first one. The first one's also on. No, the first one's on Prime. The next two are just to rent. I don't know if we're actually going to rent those or we're just going to skip to Fury Road. I just want to watch Fury Road again, man. You know, that's a great.
Well,
movie.
You're saying like lack of plot, not a lot happens. Fury Road is kind of like that too.
Yeah, but that's why I'm excited to watch it again because I loved it when it came out. I absolutely loved it. And also, there's not a lot of plot, but there's a ton of themes. And there's a lot of little things to pick at of what's actually going on in the world. This world in Mad Max 1 is boring as hell.
I didn't think Mad Max was like the greatest thing ever because of the story. I like it for a lot of the other reasons. Same thing with like John Wick. Who cares about John Wick's stories? Doesn't mean it's bad. So I just wanted to, if lack of story is a problem, I can see like clearly that inspiration has.
For sure. Well, I think the thing about Max Fury Road, and again, I'll also watch it again, but the spectacle and action's awesome, but it is like, you can tell, it feels like there's lore you don't know, and that's exciting. Mm-hmm. Like with I forget what they're called, like the crazy people that, what's the Nicholas Holt's character? There's like some like lore there, and then like Immortan Joe and the women, you can tell there's stuff happening in this world, and Tom Hardy's gonna throw into it. In this, it's just like Australia that's like a little bit fucked up. And there's some crazy people that but they don't feel like they have like a religion they're just kind of nomads that just like, there's a woman, we're going to try to, attack her. And it's like, okay. Mm-hmm. So anyway, would not recommend, just skip the second one, I would say, if you're watching Mad Max. Something good I watched that Perk, I cannot believe the show got made and is actually good. Like the things that needed to happen for this are just baffling, but okay. There's a show on Netflix you can watch called Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon remix. Okay. Which sounds insane. And that's because it is. Okay. This show is a Ubisoft universe. It's a show that takes place using Ubisoft characters and world pieces and just makes it rated R essentially, but it's really fucking good. So for anybody listening who's a hardcore gamer, Far Cry 3 was a game that came out. People loved it. There was a DLC called Blood Dragon, which was like a 80s synthwave techno kind of take on the story and world and stuff. So Captain Laserhawk Blood Dragon Remix is like that kind of similar type of thing where it's kind of like a retro 80s deal. The story takes place in, but it's also like kind of futuristic, whatever. We're in a world, Perk, where a mega corporation has taken over the country and government. We're straight fascism right now, okay? And we follow Captain Laserhawk, who used to be a soldier, and then he got killed, and they gave him a robot arm and a robot part of his head, and now he's a rebel, and he's trying to fight back against the system with his boyfriend. And then shit hits the fan, and first episode spoilers, whatever. Shit hits the fan, he gets captured and he gets part of like a Suicide Squad type thing, which I'm so sick of this trope, Perk. I'm sick of the Suicide Squad trope, but they actually do it well. This is the best Suicide Squad take I've ever had, I've ever seen. The themes are awesome. The humor is pretty good. The way they use Ubisoft characters is insane, but like it works. Like, okay, Rayman from Rayman and the Raving Rabbids and Rayman Legends is the like talk show host mouthpiece of this mega corporation. And there's a point in the show, Perk, where he's doing cocaine, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense for his character right now. Like, it's fucking Rayman. This is a children's mascot character, and he's doing coke. It's like, but like, the themes are great. The story is great. It has great twists that are actually interesting and like push the story forward. It's only 6 episodes. Like, it's short. You can knock it out. Ton of cool references like Assassin's Creed, Beyond Good and Evil, Far Cry, all this stuff. And
Beyond Good and Evil. By the way, is number 2 ever coming?
No, but the first one's not bad. And the 2 main characters in that game, Jade and Paige, are in this show, and they're great characters. That's fun. Nice. Like, you don't have to like know any references to enjoy the show. Like, it makes it more fun, but it tells its own story. And it's really fucking cool, man. Like I cannot believe this show got made and is this good. It's by Adi Shankar, who he produced the Castlevania Netflix show, which is fucking awesome. So he knows what he's doing over there. And I'm just baffled that like Netflix and Ubisoft are like, yeah, we're going to produce this. And there's a second season coming. Like, absolutely insane. So like, if any of this sounds interesting at all, watch episode 1. And I would assume you're going to get hooked and you're going to watch all 6. Because like, my God, this show is fucking cool. So check out Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon remix. It sounds insane, but I promise you it is genuinely a good show. And that is my spiel for the night. Perk, are you going to watch this at all?
Maybe.
Okay. I would love for you to watch episode 1.
Okay.
Just to get an idea of like
I think all the IP being involved is crazy because so much IP content that gets put out is just so wildly soulless.
Yeah.
And it's just like, we need to make a movie out of Mario.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, right? It's like you would not expect this kind of care to be done for anything Ubisoft would actually do. Like, right. They're making a shooter coming out some point this year called X Defiant. That's kind of this, where each you can pick like a different squad, and one of them's from Watch Dogs, one of them's from Splinter Cell, one of them's from Assassin's Creed, whatever. And you know, we see a lot of companies try to like mash up their IP into like a Smash Bros type thing or whatever. This is like super, super well done, and like using these characters very specifically and not too much. Like, there's Watch Dogs stuff that's like, it could be cringy, but no, like they use it and then they get out. There's Splinter Cell stuff. Like it's very, very effective, and like it's just done with such care. And I'm like, God, can they actually do this in their games? Because like this shows it can be done. You just got to care about the IP enough to actually like use it correctly. Right. So like it gives me some hope, but Ubisoft is also going in a really bad direction right now, so it probably won't happen. But yeah, it's just like it's just such a weird amalgamation that I cannot believe this exists, and it is good. But yeah, I highly recommend it. So yeah.
Nice.
That is our show for this week. Thank you everyone for watching. Next week, we're doing another Hitchcock banger, hopefully, and that is Vertigo. Perk and I have not seen it, and I'm excited to see this man who gets afraid of heights or whatever it is. So that's good.
No, I think that's it. I think that's all that happens.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the whole movie. It's just him going up to high places and him being scared about it.
Whoa! Yep.
But it's streaming on Criterion channel again, if you have that, and then also available to rent. So, fun fact, maybe this is true for Vertigo. Rear Window is just free on YouTube.
Was it?
So maybe it's like, check that out also. That might be a thing.
Nice.
But yeah, it is available to watch one way or another. So next week will be Vertigo. And until then, thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye-bye.